What if AI can build websites and make money for you while you're sleeping? We build a skill, Idle Website Builder, that does exactly that.
Red flag AI. Stop signing dangerous contracts. It scans contracts for you for free. Beautiful red color palette. And you can see how this is an actual problem people have. Look at this. Frame Desk, CRM built for photographers, not everyone else. A very niche audience for an existing problem. Beautiful purple color palette. And then here, trade quote, send professional estimates in 60 seconds. Another beautiful color palette, special niche focused on professionals in trades and helps them build first quotes. But why build a couple websites if we can build 100 websites?
This isn't just a shot in the dark. The skill keeps track of analytics in a Firebase dashboard. We keep track of the visitor count, and we use Supabase to keep track of the amount of signups any website is getting. The AI is able to figure out what websites are performing well and make more of those.
Imagine you go to sleep, and when you wake up after 8 hours, the next morning, many of your tasks have already been completed. You look in your bank account, and there's more money than the night before. The average human spends about 8 hours sleeping every night and becomes 70 years old. Now, if we do the math, that is 200,000 hours of wasted potential. But what if you had an AI employee / AI assistant that does tasks for you while you're sleeping and makes money for you? Introducing Project Nightlife. In this series, we are going to build an AI employee from scratch that will make money for us while we are sleeping.
OpenClaw is an AI that actually does things. As we can see in this chart, in the last couple months, it's been exponentially rising in popularity. It's the next big thing when it comes to open source software. In just a couple months, it became more popular than React, Next.js, PyTorch, and even the grandfather of software projects itself, Linux. OpenClaw has been created by Peter Steinberger, a beefy dude that previously sold his startup for about 100 million. They were building PSPDF kit. After some soul searching, he really got into AI. And in just one weekend, in November, the first version of OpenClaw was born as a prototype. And recently, he has been acqui-hired by OpenAI. So he's now officially joined the OpenAI squad. And OpenClaw is running as a foundation under OpenAI. How is this different from your usual chatbot? With something like ChatGPT, you have a conversation, get some information, but that's where it ends. OpenClaw has access to its own machine. On this machine, it has access to everything. Email, WhatsApp, and it can perform tasks for you independently. It's an autonomous agent that runs 24/7 and it lives in your pocket. You can configure it so you can talk with it from Telegram or WhatsApp and make it do things. People have been using it for filtering their inbox, generate leads on LinkedIn. It's opening up the whole AI landscape for something new. AI employees. Welcome everyone to the second episode of Project Nightlife. Sit back, relax, and grab your popcorn and let's get started. In this video, we'll go over the following topics. I will start explaining how you can give the AI tasks with Cron Jobs and HeartBeats. Then we will look into building the automatic website building skill from scratch. Next, I build one website if you can build hundreds of websites. To understand why this makes sense, I'll explain about my background as an indie game developer and using reinforcement learning for SaaS. Then we will be setting up analytics where we track visitor count and the amount of signups on the waitlist with Supabase. And finally, we will set up weekly cron job to iterate on feedback from analytics and improve. Now, if you just installed your OpenClaw, as we just did, it might seem quite useless. You need to talk with it all the time. In order to make it actually do things while we are sleeping, while we are absent, we can make use of this concept called HeartBeats and Cron Jobs, which are like tasks you can give to your AI employee. Now, let's take a look at the human world. You have a boss of a fast food shop, a burger shop, like McDonald's, and then you have one employee who's making the burgers, making the fries. It's a small McDonald's shop. And every time a new order comes in, it's written down. There's 2 hamburgers, there's 1 fry, and the next one is maybe 1 Big Mac. And so each of these becomes a task for the employee to do. Now similar, we can give our AI employee tasks with HeartBeats and Cron Jobs.
So let's take a look at our timeline. Here you can see the tasks that we will be giving to our AI employee, Haumo.
Here you can see in red, these are HeartBeats, and in blue are Cron Jobs. Now Cron Jobs is the easiest to understand. It's very similar to the traditional concept they have of cron jobs in programming. A cron job is something that happens every day at a fixed time span, like for example making a backup of our OpenClaw every morning at 8. This way we can ensure that no information is lost. And every week at 10 on a Tuesday we can use another cron job, and then we have HeartBeats. Every hour the AI is gonna make a new website. Just like a founder, it will make many things trying to see what has traction.
And finally, at 10 p.m., we will be checking the analytics, visitor counts, signups to waitlist, and we will review our performance, what's working, what's not, so we can do more of what's working and get better results.
So what is the difference? So a heartbeat is something that happens every 30 minutes, every hour. It has the session context. Besides that, it can batch multiple checks. And this is where it gets really interesting. So let's say your task is to write some code for a website, deploy the website, and look if you have previously already made something similar. That can be done all with one heartbeat. Now, for something similar, you might need 3 cron jobs, which would cost a lot more tokens. In this video, we will be focusing on setting up heartbeats for shipping apps. And at the end, we'll be setting up a cron job for the weekly review. For setting up a backup cron job, I refer you to this skill.
Let's move on to shipping some apps. To build an automatic website building skill, my initial thought was to use an AI website builder like Lovable, Fee0, Rocket, or Bolt. But for our use case, we want to be able to use it through an API. We want to be able to use it from OpenClaw. And so I looked into the opportunities, and they don't provide any APIs, but Fee0 provided an MCP server. Now, after building just one website with it, we already ran out of credits, so building multiple websites, iterating on it, would be a really expensive thing credit-wise. And that's why we are going with a different approach. We will be creating websites ourselves using an AI website building prompt. And then we will deploy the websites to for sale. When I was building the skill, I started out with this very basic flow. First, we check for the for sale token, which is required to deploy the website. Then we're going to do research into trends and problems on GitHub, on Reddit forums. Once we find a clear problem, we will start to build a solution. A very simple index.html file, and then we will deploy it to for sale, and it will return to us a successful message. To set up the for sale token, we need to go to this URL, forsale.com account settings tokens. We need to create a new token, give it a name, select the scope, and then expiration date, I put it at 30 days, then we create it. So now you need to remember this token, we'll need it for the skill. So I'm just in here, and now I told it to download the skill. There's an issue with security because it's making an API call to for sale, and then now I'm installing it with force, so give it a moment. Now we put the for sale token that we just got in here. Alright, so it's logged in, for sale token has been stored, we are reaching rate limits. Alright, so something that you really want to look into if you have rate limits is setting up a fallback. So I'm now going to set up the fallback. OpenClaw JSON. We can see here that there's a default primary, so and it's an entropic. Now what you can do is you can actually set a fallback in here. So this will ensure that if one of them hits a rate limit, it can keep going. I want to set up a fallback model to OpenAI Codex. In case we hit rate limit, we can just fall back. Okay, so it's making me do it. Now we can take that here, copy it there. So now it will automatically do fallbacks when it hits a rate limit and go to Codex. And if we look here, you can see that its default is entropic, and the fallback is Codex. Before we build the website, we actually need to set up search. Want to set up now what most people do is they use Brave search, but you need to pay for that, and there are some others. But we can actually use a free search using DuckDuckGo. Instead of using Brave Search API, I want you to use the DuckDuckGo skill for web search. Look it up. So with Brave Search, it's not really free tier. You need to pay money. You need to put in your credit card. So that's why I use DuckDuckGo skill. It can use DuckDuckGo skill to do web search, and it's free. So now we got search. We got that for sale token set up. Let's get this party started. Build a website using this skill. Alright, so it's shipped. Status light dot for sale. Alright, so this is what it came up with. And I went ahead and created a couple more of them, and this is what we get out of it. And as you can see, it tends to go with the same colors over and over again. They're quite similar, and it likes to spam this kind of patterns in there. Now, how can we go from websites that all look the same like this, but same colors, similar ugly patterns, to websites that look like this? Red flag AI. Stop signing dangerous contracts. It scans contracts for you for free. Beautiful red color palette. And you can see how this is an actual problem people have. Look at this. Frame Desk, CRM built for photographers, not everyone else. A very niche audience for an existing problem. Beautiful purple color palette. Then here, trade quote, send professional estimates in 60 seconds. Another beautiful color palette, special niche focused on professionals in trades and helps them build first quotes. As you can see, these websites look a lot better. The problems they're trying to solve are much better. So what have I changed in the skill? Right, so let's get to that. So there's a couple of things I've updated. I've also set it up as a heartbeat. So it's been running overnight and be building about 5 to 10 apps. The main workflow is the same as before. We check for a for sale token. But after that, we're going to roll some dice in order to help us make better things that actually solve real problems. It can decide to build 3 kinds of things. It can build a new AI tool, it can build an OpenClaw web tool, or it can build a niche clone. And so here's where it gets really interesting. We already had that it's trying to build something new. It's going to look into trending AI tools and find something original and useful and builds it. If the roll is 3, it will build an OpenClaw tool, which makes sense since there's a huge hype around OpenClaw right now. And then if it rolls 4 or 5, we're going to do something real interesting. We're going to copy an already existing website or AI product that's already making money. We're going to look at something like Starter Story, Crunchbase, Indie Hackers Product Hunt, and just copy already existing ideas that work. And then we're going to do them a little bit different with a different niche. This really helps getting much better ideas. The second thing is the color palettes. They always look the same. So now we do a second roll. Wow, look at the color palette. It can now be blue, violet, emerald, red, amber, cayenne, and teal. And this makes sure that we have a lot more variety in the things we're building. And we also have a background mode for the color theme, which is white or black. Now here comes the interesting part, building web apps. Now, our previous prompt was really shit, let's be honest. Now we've put in a prompt that's based on one of those AI website builders like Lovable, V0, Bolt.new, and we've been looking on the web to find some AI website building prompts. So if you take a look at this website, which was built by Bolt.new, and it's a website of our AI Automation Academy, this looks a lot better. To make something like this, they happen to have an open source version called Bolt.diy, and we got some inspiration from their prompts. So here you can see design principles, achieve Apple level refinement. It mentions something about Stripe as well, and then here also it mentions a structure. So now we've gotten a much better prompt. If you take a look at the prompt, you can see that we have a stack, but before we build anything, we are storing things in memory. And every time we build something new, we check if we have already built it before. So this way we avoid duplicating. We have a stack now. We're using Framer in there. We're using Lucid React for the icons, Tailwind for beautiful CSS, and we have some real design standards in there. Apple Stripe level polish. We have a project structure, so there's a much better website building prompt. And then the same things are as before, deploying. But what's different here is that now we're storing everything in memory. So this way, from my experience, over time it starts to build better and better things. After deployment, we will return these things, and then just something similar we had before. Now, how do we set this up as a heartbeat? So in order to set this up as a heartbeat, we need to do a couple things. So I've already set this up as a heartbeat. It ran overnight. I just need to make one more change here. So basically in our config file, we have a default setup for the heartbeat. So when we go to our workspace and you go to heartbeat, it works quite simply. It just runs the automatic website builder skill by default every 30 minutes. But we set it at 60 minutes because this is actually taking a lot of tokens to do it every 30 minutes. If we go to OpenClaw JSON to heartbeat, if you take a look here, we can see that we have set up a heartbeat and it's running every 60 minutes. So this is how you can set up a heartbeat to run every 60 minutes and ship a new app. For this video, I've just been using I'm just using the heartbeats for shipping apps. But in practice, shipping an app every hour is quite a lot, and we also need to check some other things. So I recommend also setting up a heartbeat for checking the system health, for example. How are we in terms of disk storage, memory usage, so that the AI can do anything needed there. And also check for system updates to update itself. So for the sake of this video, I keep it simple and we have only shipping apps. But why build a couple websites if we can build 100 websites? But in all seriousness, making hundreds and hundreds of apps, isn't it like a shot in the dark? Why would you do that? I get why you might think that. Let me give you some context. I come from a background as an indie game developer. Some big titles you all know are Minecraft, Among Us, Undertale, weird games that are a bit different. And I studied computer science because I wanted to become good at programming. I thought it would be a good step at starting my own company, making indie games. So I've done that for a couple years and had a couple online web games with a couple 100,000 players, but barely made any money at all. Because the game industry is really brutal. And while everyone was being a poor chump, there was this one guy who was making more than $1 million with his founder. This guy, his name is Jan Willem Nijman. And he had a really great strategy. So while others were shipping maybe one app in a month or even one in a year, this guy, he would build 50 apps in a week and hundreds in a month. So he would put it in the hands of the user, get feedback immediately, and while most of them were utter shit and failed, one or two of them were really great, and so he would continue with those. And they ended up becoming viral successes. And he ended up making more than $1 million with this strategy. And this was the brutal indie game industry. Now imagine, what if we apply this strategy in B2B SaaS, B2C, where there's actual business problems, real problems that you're solving, that are a lot valuable. How much could you make? But we're not just gonna make hundreds of apps and just hope for something to go viral. We are no caveman. We have technology.
You remember those videos where someone would train an AI to complete a Pokemon game? The AI would do thousands of iterations running through the game, and it gets rewarded for doing the right action. Moving in the right direction, catching Pokemons, completing gym battles, and the best run is the one with the highest reward. What I just explained is called reinforcement learning. Now imagine using that same strategy for building B2B SaaS, B2C SaaS. We'll be making hundreds, thousands, millions of websites and apps. We'll be running them through the simulation with the goal that one of them will go viral, become a great hit. And in order to do that, we'll need to set up this evaluation loop. We need to have some metrics to measure success. Just like in the Pokemon game, you could measure success by catching Pokemon, moving to the next region. We are gonna define some metrics. We will start off with two metrics: visitor count and the amount of signups on the waitlist. So here we can see some of the visitor counts that I've been getting while making this video. There have been 151 visitors across our websites. The top performer is OpenClaw Identity Builder. This is Identity Builder. You can randomly create an identity file. You'll get a name, you'll get the emoji, archetype, overall vibe, some initial personality, traits, values, and what to avoid. And when you move these sliders, you can see that this thing also updates. So that's really cool. And can set you up quickly with an identity. And there's also a sign up to waitlist. So if I type here this email and I press get early access, we can see that refresh this, there is a new email in there. And what's really cool is that actually someone has signed up to this waitlist. And after setting up the metrics, we will make the whole loop complete by setting up a cron job at some regular interval. So the AI will check for statistics, which it can then use to iterate. Now let me show you how to set this whole thing up. To make this run out of the box, I've updated the scale. So analytics are optional. If you want to use analytics, you will have to pass it a Google Analytics measurement ID as well as Google application credentials. To track the visitor count, we'll be using Firebase. Firebase is working directly with Google Analytics, and we can use it for not just websites, but also for mobile apps and other things if you want to. So you go to this website, console.firebase.google.com, get started creating a new project. You can enter any name here. I'll call it Hamon Firebase. And then you go continue. So here you can select an account if you already have, or you can create a new account. I'll just create a new one, Hamon Analytics, save. Location, put it at the United States, accept, create project. So this will create also Google Analytics account for you. Then we continue. Once here, we'll click on add app, choose web. Here you can write all sites. We can skip the Firebase hosting, press register app. In order to make this work, you select use script tag. Then we'll have to copy the measurement ID. And then you can paste the measurement ID to OpenClaw and it will set it in the skills. I ask you to set the measurement ID for me, which I already passed in a previous chat, and here it set it. Setting this on its own will allow the visitor counts to be tracked in Google Analytics. However, in order for the AI to be able to read that, we will need to set Google application credentials. In order to connect this, you have to go to console.cloud.google.com. Then we already have this project from Firebase. Go into there, and then we select IAM and admin. We'll go to service accounts, and then we'll do create new service account. You can type any name here. I'll enter Hamon Analytics, and then we click done. We'll click manage keys, add key, create new, and then JSON. We have to open this up and get the email from here. Then we go to Google Analytics, admin, property access management. And now we add a new user. We enter the email address we just copied, select viewer, and then add. Now we need to go back to Google Console, and we need to enable Google Analytics Data API, and we will need to enable Analytics Admin API as well. We copy this, put it here. Now we've added the analytics in there. Let's try it out. Build a new website using the automatic website building skill. Right, so it's now online. Stop writing fake stuff, commit like a pro. Let's take a look if there's analytics in here. Yeah, we can see something in there. So I'm just gonna visit this now on my phone, and then it should show up here. Right, so if we go to our dashboard, we can see now there has been one visit from my phone. We click here view real time. We can see that, yeah, it's from Commit AI, so this is working. Go back to OpenClaw. We have to tell it, I want you to pull Google Analytics data. And so here we can see it got the analytics, property name, overview, the pages, the countries, devices, and the host names. It even suggests us to set up that cron job. Isn't that beautiful? Yes, set this up. So, all right, so this was to show you how to set this up. Now let me show you some results that we got while making this video. And so here we can see the analytics of like what we've built so far in the last couple days. And it got 131 views in the last week, especially on Friday, 6th March. There were peaks, and Identity Builder is top performer. Afterwards is Bio Generator, Pricing Page Builder, and these other two. A common metric that's used by founders to determine if their product is performing well is the amount of signups on a waitlist. To set up this metric, we'll go to supabase.com and set up 2 new credentials. Sign in. So here you create a new organization. I'll call it How Monk's Organization. Type personal, free. The region, for me, Europe. For you, it may be different depending on where you live. Create new project. Next, we'll go to SQL editor and we'll make a table for waitlist, which will store the signups. And we will enable row level security with a policy so people can only enter new data and no one is allowed to read or write using the public keys. And when we take a look in the table, we can see that we now have a waitlist table. So I've updated the skill. So now it takes you through this onboarding where you can just enter all the tokens, all the keys. And first it will ask you for your for sale token. So let's put that in there. Then it will ask you for Google Analytics, choose yes or no. Then here you can put your application credentials, JSON pod. And now you can enable Supabase waitlist. So here you choose yes. And then we have to select the Supabase URL, which is here. When you go to project settings, data API, copy this URL. Next, we have to put the public anon key in there, which is also in project settings and API keys. Then we go to legacy anon service row API keys. We copy this one and then you put that in there as well. So now it did the whole configuration, and now we can use the automatic website builder skill. So we just created a new app with automatic website builder. TuneDesk is for music teachers, and there's all this information. Analytics has been enabled. Waitlist has been enabled. So let's check it out. Trial, yada yada, and join waitlist. All right. Boom, on the waitlist, and it shows up. There we go. That leaves us with one thing. We have to add the Supabase metric to the weekly digest cron job so we can iterate on the feedback. To do that, we need to get a private key, which allows us to actually read from here, which you can get from API key, legacy anon, and then you can copy the service role from here. I'm not gonna show it because it's private. And then here you can see I just asked it to update the cron job. I entered this new variable, I already pasted it in, and I asked it to do a test run to see if it could read it. So the cron job has been updated. That brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much if you're still with us. Have you gotten excited after seeing AI build hundreds of websites? You can get the skill and try it out for free when you go to this link. I rebranded it to Idle Web Developer because it makes hundreds of websites while you're idle. If you get this skill, it can automatically build websites for you. However, to get the full experience, you still need to set it up with the heartbeat, as I explained in this video. So you can go from one website to hundreds of websites. And if you want to get the reviewing loop, where it reviews itself and improves based on the results, you have to set up a cron job for that as well. If you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe, because we've got some exciting things coming for you. In this video so far, we've been looking at mass building websites, but another angle I want to look into is automating TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, so we can get some more eyeballs on what we're building. And the other thing is building mobile apps instead of websites. That would really help us close the reinforcement learning loop, because it would provide us with much better metrics, and it would make it very easy to get these metrics. The app stores, they already have many metrics like the installs, daily, monthly users, retention rate. And on top of that, people can also leave reviews on your app, and we can also use that for the feedback as well. And the app store also handles a lot of the SEO for you, so you can get installs much easier than you would get views for a website. Are you a business owner and would you like to set up a custom OpenClaw setup for your business? We from Koploper Academy provide AI education and automations for your business. You can contact us through the email that you can find in this YouTube description. And I'm wishing you all a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.